Folks, hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of LFG, our Unfiltered Franchise Education Podcast. Thank you to everyone returning and listening. Leanne Caruso, my co-host, Michael Hyam is me, in case you don't know. And how you been, Leanne?
I've been good. I'm a little glitchy this morning because my computer's dying a slow death. So I have a appointment at the Apple Genius Bar in a bit, but until then, I'm on my iPad.
Oh, nice.
The show must go on, Michael.
The show must go on. So this is the view from your iPad.
This is the view from my iPad.
Okay. So I wonder if, yeah, you look a little different than yesterday.
I do. I don't even know where to look. It's all good. It's all good. How was your week?
My week was great. Yeah, nothing too crazy, I don't think. I'm trying to think even what happened this week, just running through it. It's just crazy with show season and everything coming up. Next weekend, I've got New York, and the week after that, I've got the Dallas franchise show, and then, of course, Let's Grow, and just a million things. I guess that's why I don't remember what the hell happened, because it's been an insane week. How about you?
Yeah, we got Let's Grow coming up in 2 weeks at the time of this recording. So it's a little, this is when all the final details go into play and things go to print and all that stuff. So it's a lot, but I'm so excited. There's a good buzz out there. People are very, very excited. I keep getting texts and emails about how they can't wait for Let's Grow. So it's going to be a good one. But by the time this comes out, Let's Grow will have long passed.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was amazing.
Yes, yeah, I'm sure it was phenomenal. 100% it's going to be phenomenal with all the thought leaders that we have. I mean, literally 40 plus different seminars and sessions. It will be it was phenomenal, folks. It was phenomenal. I mean, if you didn't hear about it, you certainly heard about it on LinkedIn. Anyways, let's jump into this week's podcast. Super excited. Shortly, we are going to have Karen Wenning. Karen is our fan favorite. She is the business development manager at Suttle-Straus, and super excited to have her on. Remember when you called Karen a Karen?
I never called Karen a Karen. Karen is the most un-Karen of Karens that there is, other than Karen Booz, who's also an un-Karen. But we love Karen Wenning. She is and big news for Franchise Assembly. Suttle-Straus is the official print vendor of Franchise Assembly. So we love the support from Karen, and thank you so much. And I don't know what happens when your one listener is actually on the show. So does this mean hopefully we can get more listeners?
Oh my gosh. Well, Leanne, I will tell you though, I don't know if you have a volume or not, but it's kind of low.
Oh, well, I don't know.
You don't know? I mean, we can't have dead air like this, Leanne.
No. Can you hear that? Is that better?
No, it's not.
Oh.
But who knows? What do you think? You good?
I mean, let's go with this part, and then I'll try to fix the sound later.
All right. Well, then you had it. Let's get to it. Our first segment, as always, what's going on? What's going on? A little of franchise info. What's happening? Latest and greatest, and sometimes not the greatest, because unfortunately things happen in franchising. But anyways, we'll jump to it. This segment is sponsored by Franchise Assembly, franchise events company bringing resources and education to brands and people. Leanne, why don't you kick it off and tell us what's going on?
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys get the reports from Franchise Insights. I think they've always got some really good information about what's going on in franchise development land, of who, how are prospects reacting and what are they doing. So this one is franchise prospects narrow focus early in research. So it seems like they do a ton of research early on, and they kind of find a path quickly. So a recent analysis by Franchise Insights reveals that aspiring franchisees quickly narrow their focus to a select few concepts during their research. Data showed that 38.2% of prospects inquired about only one franchise, with an additional 17.5% and 10.5% expressing interest in 2 and 3 franchises respectively. This indicates that nearly 56% of potential franchisees concentrate on just 1 or 2 options, despite the vast array of opportunities available. Interestingly, while many prospects begin with a broad search, about 47% are initially open to any category. They swiftly narrow their choices. Additionally, almost 74% of prospects reported inquiring about franchises they were previously unfamiliar with, highlighting the role of franchise directories in introducing new opportunities. For franchise development teams, this underscores the importance of prompt and effective follow-up with leads, as an early engagement can significantly influence a prospect's decision-making process.
Great information.
I mean, Franchise Insights just said that they should use portals. And Franchise Insight is a portal, so I can see why they have that information.
Yeah, I didn't want to point that out, but yes.
I mean,
yeah, well, we'll read between the lines there.
Yeah.
So this one is great too. Oh no, I was going to say, no, it was released. So we just had that great podcast with Jason from Entrepreneur, and that was a wonderful chat. But coming out of that, top franchises of 2025 share a common trait: relevance, and that's exactly what we were chatting a little bit about. The franchise 500 and those that were on it and what made them special and so on and so forth. But according to Entrepreneur's 2025 Franchise 500 ranking, the leading franchises vary widely in age, investment cost, and size, but they all share a crucial trait: relevance. These brands effectively deliver value to both customers and franchisees, maintaining robust systems capable of scaling from dozens to thousands of units, while remaining adaptable to changing market conditions. The ranking includes franchises that began in as early as 1925, like A&W, and as recently as 2023, such as Spark by Hilton and Lawn Pride. Initial investment range from as low as 1945, wow, for cruise planners, to as high as 190 million for Hilton Hotels and Resorts. Unit counts also vary, with some brands operating fewer than 100 locations, while others, like 7-Eleven and McDonald's, exceed 10,000 units. This diversity underscores that success is franchising isn't confined to a specific formula. Instead, it's about maintaining relevance and delivering consistent value in a dynamic marketplace.
So that's pretty cool that at least 2 brands made the list, and they only opened in 2023, or they only started franchising in 2023. That's pretty significant.
That is pretty wild. That's yeah, I mean, so many brands look to this list and you know, they really hold it up. You know, once they made the list, it's like, it means a lot. The amount, and Jason talked to this point a little bit, you know, the amount of time they invest into actually diving deep into the brands and you know, seeing what's going on, and you know, their formula. It's over 6 months worth of work to compile it and research it and go through everything. And so yeah, you're absolutely right. To make it on as a first timer, that's phenomenal.
Yep, it's pretty cool. Speaking of people who make it on, Unleashed Brands, I know they have several of their brands have made the Franchise 500, and they themselves, Urban Air themselves, I saw on LinkedIn, has made #1 in the category for 7 years in a row. So that's pretty cool. But they're growing like crazy. So they recently announced that they appointed John Schell as new CFO and Josh Wall as COO. Unleashed Brands, the leading youth enrichment franchise platform, has announced the appointment of John Schell as its new Chief Financial Officer and Josh Wall as its new Chief Operating Officer. We all know Josh Wall very, very well. Schell, a franchise finance veteran, previously served nearly a decade as CFO for Neighborly, overseeing a portfolio of 30 brands and 5,500 locations globally. Unleashed Brands operates over 2,000 franchise locations, including category leaders like Urban Air, Little Gyms, Sylvan Learning, and Premier Martial Arts. Congrats
Love
to
it. Yeah, I think Josh was your franchise royal on our last podcast.
Josh was?
Wasn't he?
Oh yeah, maybe. Yep. Yep, sure was. Congrats, Josh.
Wow, Leanne. Wow. I'm just kidding.
We love Josh.
Absolutely. So, for anyone else that has some exciting news of what's going on in your neck of the woods, or with your franchise, or with other franchises, I mean, we like good news. We like controversy. You know, we like to talk it out. So feel free to shoot it over. You can always send an email to podcast@franchiseassembly.com, and it may or may not make it onto the podcast.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to give a shout out to Fishman PR, because they send me such great news all the time, but they're the only PR company that sends me anything.
So, oh, wow.
Way to go, Fishman.
Love it. Love it. Yeah.
Right.
All right. So, franchise royals, something cool we noticed on LinkedIn. That's what Leanne has for me to read here, but it doesn't have to be something that we learned on LinkedIn, because I'm going to tell you exactly why. Our next segment of franchise royals are people that are in this space, whom we love, who have done something great, who have some celebration, who so on and so forth. You get the point. This segment is sponsored by Orchitect. Leanne, take it away.
Managing multiple franchise locations? Meet Maestro by Orchitect, your ultimate business intelligence solution. Gain a centralized view of your entire network, leverage predictive analytics, and make data-driven decisions to boost productivity and profitability. Seamlessly integrate with QuickBooks and automate tasks like royalty payments. Trusted by successful franchises, Maestro transforms operations across retail, healthcare, education, and sports. Visit orchitect.com and take your franchise to the next level. Michael, stop making me laugh while I'm reading a very important sponsor.
Monty and Madhav, we love you. It's not my fault Leanne can't read. I know she's saying I make her laugh, but you know. I kid. I'm joking. But yes, let's jump on to my franchise royal. My franchise royal this week is Jeremy Shelton, for a few reasons. But Jeremy is, for those of you that don't know, he's an amazing, super nice guy, who is works on the development team with Oh Dear. Jeremy, out of nowhere, who was already registered for Let's Grow, had come in and said, "Hey guys, you know what? I love the event. Last year was so great. I'm so excited to be on, and we'd love to do something kind of cool and unique for everyone through a sponsorship. And can you think of something?" And so, you know, what more do franchise people like to do, other than learn, is drink. And so we came up with this amazing new drink. Well, Jeremy came up with the drink, the pest-free Paloma. And by now, by the time this has come out, you guys obviously all know that, because you had one at the barn party. And we want to thank you, Jeremy, for the sponsorship, and for, you know, trying to contribute to the conference and make things more fun for everybody. And certainly that drink did. But Jeremy has also been a great supporter always of all things franchising, a great advocate to the industry in general. Jeremy has frequented the franchise show trade show floor. Jeremy assists us with many things, and he's always an ear to listen. And Jeremy, we thank you. Leanne?
He's also in the mastermind.
Oh, didn't I say that?
Nope. Yes, we love Jeremy very much. Congratulations, Jeremy, on your franchise royal designation. My franchise royal, I met her for my first time in Toronto. Jeff Horst introduced me to her. Her name is Nemra Moyne. And sorry if I don't pronounce your name right, Nemra, your last name. But she was new to franchising, and he wanted to connect and just kind of, you know, introduce her and kind of get in the franchise circles. And she, over the last year, has really just kind of jumped in. She was at Let's Grow Canada. and I'm super excited that she has just taken a job with Cadence Franchising. So our friends over at Corey and Cindy snagged her, and she will be a great addition over there. Congratulations to Nemra and to Cadence for getting another good one.
Congratulations, Nimra.
Yes.
Yes, met her in Canada at Let's Grow, and super nice person.
Yeah, she's great. All right, before we head to show and tell segment, let's take a moment to learn about our podcast sponsor, Suttle-Straus, who is also our guest.
Woohoo!
Franchisors love Suttle-Straus because we protect their brand standard across all marketing channels. Z's love our marketing platform because they can customize, print, download, and mail brand right collateral for their local market in minutes. Want to see how it works? Connect with me, Karen Wenning, on LinkedIn.
All right. Okay, so we are back here for the show and tell segment. Super excited. For those of you that don't know, the show and tell is where we bring on our industry leaders, our thought leaders, our experts who share their insights on everything to do with their industry. And we're super excited to have Karen Wenning. Oh, hold on a minute. Leanne has flagged me that she loves Karen so much. She wants to be the one to introduce her. Wow, Leanne, look at you. You know, I like Karen too, but take it away. I'm not going to tell Karen you called her a Karen. You go, you introduce her.
Stop. That's not true. That is not true. We talked about this earlier. She's my favorite Karen. All right. Thank you, Karen, for coming on. And I love Karen so much. I'm wearing the same shirt as her, if you could see on YouTube.
Wonderful.
But Michael doesn't have one because he's not cool enough. So, hey, Karen, thank you so much for coming. Karen is the business development manager at Suttle-Straus. Suttle-Straus is our new official print sponsor of Franchise Assembly. So thank you so much for all of your support. We love working with you and collaborating with you on lots of fun projects. But Karen, welcome to the show and thank you. And tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us about Suttle-Straus.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here, and we are thrilled to be the print partner for Franchise Assembly. So a little bit about me. I've been working for Suttle-Straus for 17 years just this week. And prior to that, I worked for an advertising agency, and we, at that time, were focused just on traditional marketing, right? At that time, there were no websites and, social media and things like that. So direct mail is something that I've always been intimately involved with. And since working at Suttle-Straus, obviously, lots of things have changed. We do everything here from direct mail to wide format printing to connected mail campaigns, all types of printed materials, as well as brand portals, which I think is what we're known for in franchising. That gives the franchisor the ability to have control of the brand guidelines, but allows the franchisees to customize and personalize templates across all the marketing channels within those guardrails, if you will. So the franchisees have some control over their marketing, like choosing a different image if it doesn't make sense for a home service brand in Colorado to have the same house that a home service brand in Florida would have. The ability to change out images, but still not deviate from that brand standard.
So I think that's so interesting. I didn't realize you've been there for 17 years, but so you've definitely seen the evolution of direct mail. And today we're going to focus mostly on direct mail because so many people think that direct mail is dead. And what we didn't say is our shirts say direct mail, go ahead, underestimate me. So I am personally a big fan of direct mail. I use it almost with all of my clients, both on the Fran Dev side and on the consumer side. So we're going to kind of talk about how it's changed and how doing things a little bit different. You can combine digital with the hard copy. So I think it's super cool. So tell us, what are some of the different types of mailings and even go into the consumer versus Fran Dev?
Yeah, absolutely. So all different types, we do all different types of direct mail here. So everything from a saturation mailing where you're hitting every single household. I think most franchisors are familiar with every door direct mail, which is the same concept, right? So you get a reduced postage rate because you're hitting every single door. It's not going to Leanne, it's going to the residents. And that's great for some brands. So think about QSRs, everybody eats, right? So every door direct mail makes a lot of sense for food. It doesn't make a ton of sense for brands that are going after a very specific demographic. So for example, if I am only catering to families that have children in the household under the age of 10, for example, I don't want to blanket a whole neighborhood because I'm wasting money on postage and printing for people that are not qualified prospects, if you will. So that's what I would call a consumer mailing, where we're looking for a very specific demographic. So every door direct mail, saturation mailings again are going to be like your pizza franchises. So we want to hit every single mailbox in a college town, for example, when the students move in, right? Because we want the students to know where they can go to get their pizza at 2 a.m. So different types, depending on what we're going after. Then you have, on the other side of it, you have business mailings. So for mailing to businesses on the Fran Dev side, if let's say we have a brand that wants to market to mom and pops that might want to become a franchise, right? So then we're going to look for a business list. We don't do the lists here. We use a compiler. We use a company to help us with that. But again, that compiler is somebody that I've been working with for 17 years.
So I was just about to ask you, how do you compile the lists? And is that something you guys do?
So we don't. We work with the compilers. We work with a company that helps us determine what is the best list for what we're looking for. So that might be Equifax. It could be, depending on the specific demographics that we're looking for, it might be a different type of list. For example, in California, very difficult to get information about children in the household because of Consumer Privacy Act. Oh. So in California, we might look at a different type of list where we're going on propensity data. So if they're making these purchases, they are likely to have a child in that home of this age, for example.
That's interesting. I didn't know that about California. What's your recommendation on how many times you should send? Like, how many times should you hit? Because I know direct mail can be expensive, but it doesn't always work just once.
That's a great question. It really depends on what kind of mailing we're doing, right? So if we're doing a connected mail where we're combining social and digital with direct mail, and we're able to know exactly how many people we are converting in those, we find that the franchisees that are hitting those on a quarterly basis are exponentially increasing the amount of new members that they're bringing into their franchise systems. To try it once and to say, oh, it didn't work, it probably isn't going to work the first time. And if you're not a very well-known brand, if you don't have brand awareness, then it's going to take a longer time for that direct mail to be effective in your market. And one thing that everybody needs to understand, the franchisor and the franchisee, is direct mail is always a brand play, right? Everybody is responsible for brand awareness. And sometimes that's difficult for a franchisee because they think that the franchisor should be, fully responsible for the brand based on, what they're paying in for their monthly fees, right? That's not the case. You're going into a new market and your brand isn't known there. You are very much responsible for making that brand known. And all that's going to do is increase your market share.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Like anything, as you know, I work in the trade show industry, and all the time, it's the same thing. You can't do something one time. If you do it once, maybe you knew what you were doing, maybe you didn't know what you were doing, maybe you knew what you were targeting, maybe you see the different things that you can do, from even in a trade show standpoint. And sometimes it takes a couple of times to get there. Especially like you said, if your brand is not known, you're creating the brand awareness. It's all those different touch points that's going to take you to where you need to get. So I couldn't agree with you more that you absolutely need to try it more than once with anything. And so talk to me a little bit about, Leanne mentioned a little bit earlier that, direct mail, I guess there's that stigma that is dead. Why are we hearing about direct mail again? I'm not necessarily the whole evolution of mail, but has there been a resurgence? Like, why is it such a big thing now?
Yeah, that's a great question. There has been a resurgence, and here's why. So a lot of people during COVID, they didn't want to get direct mail, right? They didn't want to touch mail. And the United States Post Office did a couple of really smart things. Maybe you're familiar with informed delivery. Informed delivery is a service that the United States Post Office provides where the consumer, so you or I, go in and we sign up with the United States Post Office to get an email from them every day telling us what's going to arrive in the mailbox. And what that is it's an email and it shows the back of the direct mail piece in black and white, right? And during COVID, people were very curious about what's coming to their mailbox and should they touch it or not, right? So 1 million people a month signed up for this service.
Wow.
So with that, a lot of things have happened, right? So people stopped doing direct mail. And then after COVID, they decided direct mail was safe again. And so we leveraged a lot of those channels. So for example, with a connected mail program, we're able to leverage social and digital with the power of direct mail to get more touches. Because like you said, Michael, we never know how many touches it's going to take in the customer journey to convert somebody. What is it going to take to get them to actually come to that conference? What is it going to take to get somebody to consider signing their child up for swim lessons, for example? Now, obviously, depending on the type of business you have, if you have childcare and the tuition is really expensive for a year, it's going to take a lot longer to convert that person and probably a lot more touches. So a traditional direct mail piece, prior to 5 years ago, it would arrive in the homes one time. And as marketers, we would hope that it was seen and that it didn't just get thrown away. That was one touch. Well, now when we combine social and digital with it, we can get 8 to 10 touches on a direct mail piece. So the first thing that happens is we take that very specific prospect list that we're trying to acquire. So let's say kids in the homes under the age of 10, right? And we're going to suppress the existing membership. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go out and try to find all the social media accounts of the people on the mailing list. We're not going to find them all, but we're going to find some Instagram and Facebook accounts. And when that direct mail piece drops in the mail, we're going to start serving up ads to those social media accounts. The next thing that's going to happen in that campaign is that informed delivery. So anybody that signed up with the United States Post Office is going to get an email. And usually it's about half of the people on the mailing list. And the open rates on those emails, because they're not coming from me, they're not coming from the brand, they're coming from the United States Post Office, somebody signed up for that. The open rates are extremely high, more than 50%. That has a ride-along ad in color that consumer can click right through to that brand's website. Throughout the campaign, we're putting a pixel on that website. So anybody that hits that website and leaves is going to get retargeted with Google ads, etc. Then the direct mail piece arrives in homes, right? So now you can see how we're getting so many more touches. And at the end of the campaign, we can pull that current customer membership list and we can compare that back to the original direct mail list. And we know exactly how many conversions we had. So if you're a childcare business and your tuition is really high and you make one conversion, you more than paid for the campaign. If your monthly subscription fee for whatever you're selling, chiropractic or swim lessons, is low, then we have to convert more, right? But if we're going into a new market and there's no brand awareness and we got 10 touches on a client, how much further along have we moved them in that customer journey, right? So we pull that at 30 days and then we pull it again at 60 days because we know it takes some people longer to convert. Then as a marketer, you can take that, you can look at the Google Analytics during that time. How much more lift did we have in website traffic because of these 8 to 10 touches we were getting on these people throughout the campaign? So it sounds complicated. We make it very simple, but it's very easy for me to get excited about it, having sold direct mail for so long and really dropping things in the mail and then crossing your fingers and hoping that it gets delivered. Now we can actually see what's happening on a dashboard.
I think it's so cool because you can take a physical, something that you can touch and feel, which is one of the reasons I recommend direct mail, because it's not lost in the noise of digital. But it's something that you touch and feel, and you put it on your table, you put it next to your desk, and you're constantly looking at it, but you just keep seeing it. And then cross it over to multiple different channels that you're seeing the same hits digitally. I think it's so cool how it's evolved. Do you recommend putting like QR codes on the direct mails so that you can at least track if they're going to the website?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And thank you, COVID, for bringing back the QR code, right?
QR codes are the little engine that could, man. They tried so hard that one time, and then thank you, COVID. They figured it out.
Definitely recommend putting QR codes on every direct mail piece that you send out. Also, if you're a brick and mortar and you need people to come to your location, you better put a map on there too, right? People don't necessarily, sure, everybody can, put the GPS in their car or whatever. Put a map on there so they know that you're by Target.
Wow. So I'd like to know what else does the mail know? Like the post office. You mentioned that they in California, so you said you can't disclose if a family has children under a certain age?
So we can thank California for the Consumer Privacy Protection Act that they voted in, and we were actually afraid that it was going to be adopted by all the states. So any information in California, the consumer has to tell the compiler, yep, I have a child in the home and I'm okay telling you that, right? So fortunately, the rest of the country did not adopt that. So now we have more visibility based on, how does the compiler get this information? It might be the purchase of a home, the purchase of a car. It's public information, right? Information that they report about themselves on the census, for example. If you have a kid in college or that's going to college, all of a sudden you're going to notice that when they're in high school, they start getting all this personalized direct mail sent to their homes. So that's from signing up for the ACT and SAT, right? This is how all this works. It's really publicly reported information.
Yeah, it makes sense for sure. Maybe the census. Yeah, because obviously they know the household income, and that makes sense too. Like depending on how much you purchased your home from, so they know which areas are, higher net worth households.
Credit card usage. They have so many different data points that they pull all this together, and then they can track your phone number and your email to all of your different accounts, and they put it all together in these massive lists. It's very scary.
Yeah.
And we've always known that the omni-channel approach provided more benefits and provided more conversions. So just the ability to kind of wrap it all together. And my franchisees that are doing more marketing obviously are having more conversions. They're not stopping anything that they're doing on the digital side when they're running these campaigns. If somebody came to me and said, hey, should I stop doing digital and do this instead? Absolutely not. No. You need to do it in conjunction with your other marketing to get the best lift.
Are you, in our mastermind group, you shared a case study. Are you comfortable sharing that here? I know.
100%.
Yeah, I figured you would be. And I figured you probably have it memorized because it's so good. And I didn't want to catch you off guard, but if you'd be open to sharing that, I'd love to.
Yeah, absolutely. I have it like 90% memorized. So, I can send over the actual document.
All the good parts. Yeah.
You can see how close I was to accurate. Yeah, absolutely. So we do a national campaign and we mail out like over 300,000 pieces of mail for every location that opts in, 2,500 pieces per location. And it's that whole connected mail campaign where we're reaching out, we're finding the consumer, we're sending them touches in social media. They're getting the informed delivery. The direct mail piece arrives in homes. They're going to the website. They're getting retargeted. And this is the 3rd year that we've been running this campaign. And we have over 2,000 conversions that we can match back to the mailing list, right? So why is that important, and what does that really tell me? If my brand that I'm working with, and this is a critical point, if you know the lifetime value of a customer, and please know this, it's a really important number to know. How else can you calculate your ROI on any of your marketing channels if you don't know what the lifetime value of a customer is, right? So if we take that lifetime value and we calculate it by the number of conversions we got, we can get the potential ROI of the campaign. So $1.95 million in potential value if the consumer that signed up stays with this particular brand for 6 months.
Wow.
So it's incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
With that, you can also, buy leads. So the people that are hitting the website that we're able to collect their physical address, we can send another mailing to them. And so when we talked about frequency and how often we should be doing this, if we're looking at those leads and we're buying leads and we know that they've been on the website, they might not be the ideal client, right? They could have landed on that website and they may not have a child in the home under the age of 10, but they were there for some reason, and we can capture their physical address. We can send them another mailing. We can also append through another service the person's name that lives there. Okay, we can't get that all in one because of privacy, but we can append that and then send another mailing. Now, who's to say that that person is not a prospect? What if it's a grandmother that wants to buy, some lessons for their granddaughter?
Right. That's awesome. I know what brand you're talking about.
So speaking of brands, what exactly does a franchisor, whether it's Azor or Z, what do they need to know to be more effective outside of calling you?
Number 1, call Karen. Number 2.
Well, definitely you can call me and I can at least walk you through like what I would recommend based on what your goals are and what you're trying to do. So if you wanted to do a Fran Dev mailing and use connected mail, that doesn't work because I have to go to a homeowner's address, right? And if we're doing Fran Dev and we're trying to find people, we don't know where they live. So that's not going to work. So there's a lot of different nuances. What they need to know is what their goals are, what they're expecting to have the results be. And they need to really understand that direct mail is always a brand play. We're going to get touches. We're going to get that 8 to 10 touches, and we're going to likely get some conversions. But a lot of that is based on how well the brand is already known, the other marketing that they're doing, all of these things. We also have to have a good offer. I highly recommend A/B testing. I would never launch a national campaign for any brand without first doing some sort of testing. We did this with the brand I was referencing earlier, and we found out that what they thought was the best offer was not actually making conversions. And when we did that A/B testing, we found the offer that does make the conversions. And that's what we run for the national campaign. So highly recommend that. So know what your offer is. It really helps if you know how many touches you need in the customer journey. A lot of brands don't know that, but you absolutely must have a lifetime value. I mean, I don't even think we should talk about running a program if you don't know what the lifetime value is of a client. Because you know what's going to happen? You're going to be really frustrated. You're going to say, well, I got 8 to 10 touches, but what does that really mean? And also, if you can't give me your customer list with your complete address, then we probably shouldn't talk either. So a lot of brands, and here's why that is. A lot of brands will, they don't require, on an intake form, maybe they're just going to take the name and the email address. but they don't get the physical address of that person. I need that information in order to run a good campaign for you, in order to suppress. We're going to suppress by household in order to provide a good suppression list, and then also to be able to confirm your conversions after the campaign.
Good. So do you have any other tips for mailing?
Tips. I guess my favorite tip is that postage costs the same amount to do a 5.5 by 8.5 direct mail piece as it does to do a 6 1/4 by 11.
Oh,
so would you rather have, you know, a 5.5 by 8.5 arrive in the mailbox, or would you rather have, you know, a great big 11 by 6 piece arrive in the mailbox? Yes, it's going to cost a little bit more on the printing side, but you want to maximize the amount of real estate that you have in that mailbox. So Mrs. Consumer, when she takes it out of her mailbox, she sees it. So that's my biggest tip. Again, it might be a few cents more for the printing of a larger piece, but the postage is going to be the postage regardless.
the postage has gone up quite significantly. Like, I just went to buy a book of stamps the other day. Holy crap.
What is postage these days? I haven't sent something out in a while.
It's insane. I don't even know what a forever stamp is. I think it's like 76 or 78 cents a piece.
Yeah. Remember when it was 25 cents? Like, aging ourselves. But
25 cents. When was it that?
But like, our clients are never going to pay that because we're an alliance partner of the United States Post Office. So
and
we're a lot of times we're sending the mail pre-sort standard. You know, even every door direct mail goes for a lower rate even than pre-sort standard. So we're putting everything in carrier route order, so that gives us a discount, which we can and do pass on to our clients.
Right. Yeah, that's great. I just couldn't believe how the price of postage was these days. It's wild.
Hold on, while we're talking here, when was postage?
Oh God,
25 cents.
He's gonna pretend like he wasn't alive, but he was.
Let's see. I don't know. It's not coming up. Oh, 1868. Oh, that's good, Leanne.
Stop it.
Oh my gosh. So Karen, I want to ask you something a little bit on the side that's not as much, because all of our listeners are also, you know, people that go to conferences and trade shows, you know, with the show season coming up and conference season coming up and all of that. You're such a phenomenal networker and you're so personable. Do you have any tips for anyone out there that's listening?
My tip is, whenever I travel, I always make sure I do something for myself. Whether that's, a lot of times I like to try like something new in fitness, or go to a different gym, or try a new franchise. But do whatever you do. So if you like to work out, get up and be in the gym. If your thing is going to prayer breakfast, do that, right? Because you're going to meet your people there. The people that I see in the gym, maybe we don't make much eye contact or anything, but like later in the day, you're like, hey, I saw you in the gym. You know, it's a great conversation starter. I think just like being who you are. And then you kind of get known as the person as, oh, she's the person who's always in the gym. Hey, do you want to try this franchise, or do you want to do this or that? So I always make sure I do something for myself. And I think just if there's somebody in the room and they look like they're feeling awkward or don't have anybody to talk to, that's the person I go talk to. I just, you know, we've all been that person, and there's definitely somebody that we can introduce them to. And I think that's one thing that I really like about this community, is we just really don't leave anybody out to like hang out to dry, right? Just kind of bring everybody in. We've all been there.
Yeah.
So those would be my tips.
Especially at IFA when it's just so big and so overwhelming. But Karen and I don't know if you knew this, Karen and I walked all the way to the Rocky Steps and then ran the Rocky Steps. Like, it felt like 500 times. I think it was 10. But it was like super early in the morning, but that was a lot of fun.
But you're missing out. Walked all the way to the Rocky Steps from where?
Oh, it was far away. Well, it was like, not like, I say far away, but it's like a mile and a half.
Oh,
Or where the riots were,
Yeah. We walked away from the riots to go run the riot.
We thought we were pretty tough.
Yeah.
But like that, those are the things you remember, right? Like you remember that.
Right.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I don't want every trip to Vegas to be the same, right?
Right.
So
I try to do the same thing. I didn't used to, but I try now to go do something like around the city and at least explore the city that I'm in. And if I can, I stay an extra day or come early just to kind of see, because we just come in and then we stay in a hotel and then we leave.
mhm.
So I completely agree with you. Like just go enjoy the city while you're there too.
so true. Speaking of Vegas, I made it to the Grand Canyon for the first time. Finally, and highly recommended. It was wonderful.
I want to do that when I'm there in a couple weeks.
See, I haven't done that either. And I haven't been hiking out there either. Every time I go, I'm like, I want to get out of there as fast as possible, I'll be honest.
Well, let's talk about that.
Although the last time I was there, I went to Prime IV Hydration and
yeah.
it was amazing.
Was it?
Oh my God.
That's
I
cool.
was like, I felt 10 years younger the next day.
That's amazing.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
I heard it's good,
Okay.
but that's a lot of people who have extra amounts to drink will usually when they're in Vegas do that sort of thing, but you're not a drinker.
No, and I completely, the next morning, at first when I was having it done, I was like, okay, this is great. I mean, it was comfortable but the next day I felt like I had no wrinkles on my face because you're hydrated.
Yeah.
What a
Wow.
concept.
That's
Yeah.
lovely. All right. Well, Karen, this has been wonderful. Anything else we missed that we need to make sure that we get out to the people?
I think I pretty much talked everyone's ear off.
It was great. It was great. I was saying earlier, like when we were doing the intro to the show, that if our one listener is our guest, what does that mean? Like, hopefully, but because you're our guest, we'll have more listeners.
Well, we'll find out.
We'll find out. But how do people get in touch with you if they want to find out more about Suttle-Straus or Karen?
Oh, definitely LinkedIn is the best place to get me.
Okay.
I try to show up there.
All right. Well, this is gonna air after IFA. So it was great seeing you at Let's Grow and IFA. It was so much fun. And otherwise, can't wait to see you at Let's Grow and then at IFA.
I know, I'm excited to see you both and I appreciate you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you for coming on. Thanks, Karen.
Bye.
Stop for now.
That was phenomenal. Again, thank you so much, Karen. You are amazing. I'm like, totally amazing. Like you could have Leanne's job on this podcast.
Wow. Gonna get reclaimed.
I'm just kidding. Don't we love Karen that much, Leanne?
We do love Karen that much. We should just add a third host.
There you go. That was really awesome. But yeah, so our final segment now, of course, is Franchise Mingle. And Franchise Mingle is sponsored by who, Leanne?
They are sponsored by the National Franchise Show.
Amazing. Sponsored by the National Franchise Show. Franchise Mingle, of course, is the upcoming events, things that are coming up in the near future. And first up, of course, we have Hello Mastermind, our spring retreat for franchise dev and marketing execs. It's coming up in Nashville, April 30th through to May 2nd. If for anyone that wants more information, please inquire with us. And then we have a bunch of franchise shows coming up. The National Franchise Show spring schedule continues. We've got Chicago from April 12th through to the 13th. We've got Virginia, DC, April 26th and 27th. And then we have Las Vegas, May 17th and 18th. We also have Orlando and Houston, which will round out the spring schedule. And that's all I have on the docket for now. Leanne, did I miss anything?
I don't think so. I think that was good. Let's wrap this up. This episode is sponsored by our good friend Karen and Suttle-Straus. the official print sponsor of Franchise Assembly, Architect, Hello Mastermind, Franchise Assembly, and the National Franchise Show. All right. See you next time.
Awesome. Thank you.